Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. And in this week's local news, a man arrested in New York for child sexual exploitation of a local Oxford girl. And protesters are blocking entrances to Enbridge.
Stay tuned and learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. A 20-year-old Brooklyn, New York man was arrested and expedited to the Oakland County Jail for several counts of using computers to commit child sexual abusive activity against a juvenile. During a recent complaint and investigation, the Oakland County detectives determined that John Lepanko used a computer in Brooklyn, New York to blackmail a 14-year-old Oxford girl into sending explicit photos of herself to him on the internet. The youngster was told that if she did not send the pictures to him, he would fake nude pictures of her and send it to all of her classmates and teachers and relatives. The charges carry up to 20-year prison sentence, and he sits in jail awaiting court in lieu of a $25,000 bond.
John Sisma, who lived in Livonia, was employed in Oxford and mauled by two dogs while jogging in Metamora Township near Thomas Road. A witness told police that the attack was non-provoked and the dogs seemed to come out of nowhere. The witness saw the attack and shot one of the dogs, but both dogs ran away. The injured man was taken to a local hospital where he was later pronounced dead. The dogs were found and placed under quarantine with the animal control facility in Lapeer County. A local district attorney announced this week that the owners of the dogs will face second-degree murder charges, as this is not the first incident with these dogs.
And two out-of-town protesters blocking the entrance of the Lakeville Road Enbridge facility were arrested. Alan Smith, 51, of Chestertown, Indiana, and Jacob McGraw, 31, of Milford, Michigan, were arraigned in court on a misdemeanor charge of mass picketing and failure to comply with the order of a police officer. The two men arrested were among 12 to 14 people who were protesting against Enbridge related to a massive oil spill that occurred 4 years ago in Marshall, Michigan. In 2010, an Enbridge oil line ruptured, sending an estimated 84,000 gallons of oil into the Talmadge Creek and Kalamazoo River, causing over $800 million cleanup. At the time, it was considered one of the worst inland oil spills ever.
It looks as though there will be only 4 members running for their seat on the village council in this August primary. The candidates are Maureen Helmuth, Sue Basardi, Brian Cloutier, and Rose Bema. All have served on the council in the past. Absent from the ballot is current village president Dave Bailey. Bailey served on the council for several years and was elected president in 2014. He has elected not to run due to a possible job relocation. The village council requires 5 members, which means there's still 1 seat left that needs to be filled. And maybe there's a volunteer out there in Oxford who would like to do so. And if you would like to talk to Joe Young, the village manager at 22 West Burdick, and see what he has to say. He can get you started and running for that council seat.
And I'm sure everyone has the word. Oxford's East Burdick Street is now open for traffic. Needless to say, the businesses located at that end of town are overjoyed at the prospect of making up for lost business caused by the road's closure. Travelers no longer have to take the detour route around seemingly endless construction. They can now reach M24 or go home on a nicely widened and paved road without fear of losing a tire or a strut due to potholes. However, there are a few added changes to it. You will have to watch out for speed sign changes, and there are new truck weight load restrictions as well. But happy days are here again, right?
Oxford hospice patients were recently given a wish, and guess what they wanted to do? They wanted to go fishing. Along with Heart to Heart Hospice of Oakland County, a Lake Orion resident volunteered the use of his pontoon boat for the expedition for the local veterans to go fishing. The group went fishing on Lake Orion Lake and had a successful catch.
On Saturday, August 2nd, downtown streets were packed with visitors enjoying Oxford's Lone Ranger Days. The festivities started at 10 a.m. and ran until 5 p.m. For the second straight year, the Lone Ranger Parade was a great success. It started at 11 a.m. at the marketplace and ended at the fire station. Lake Orion and Addison both had a representation in the parade. Bands marched and fire engines lit up the area. The Lone Ranger on his horse Silver and trusty sidekick Tonto were highlights of the parade. We found out that the Lone Ranger was played by no other than Oxford's very own police chief, Mike Niemandowski, but it just might be a rumor. Vendors had tents and foods, plenty, and goodies for everyone. Children along the parade route collected candy given out by some of the many parade floats, and at the end, parents were seen taking their sleepy-eyed children home, but asking, when will next year's Lone Ranger Days begin?
If you should happen to see our new Oxford Village DDA director, give her a genuine hometown friendly greeting that we Oxford residents are known for. Her name is Virginia, or Ginny, and it's Shomish. She's a 24-year-old Ypsilanti resident, but intends to move here soon. She is both a graduate of the University of Michigan with her bachelor's and a master's from Eastern Michigan University. She's smart, perky, and energetic. We at OCTV are glad to welcome her as part of our community.
Well, Terry, Oxford knows how to put on a parade, don't they?
We love a party. I love a parade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun to be so involved with the entire community. It's just a big deal. And I'm happy to see that it turned out as good as last year.
Right. Now, you were on a riser with a camera person, and of course, you were shooting the parade as it went by.
Bird's eye view.
Yeah.
I wasn't shooting at the parade, though.
No.
No, it's always great fun to have such a big event in our community, and I think it's going to keep on for a while.
Yeah, I think, a lot of kudos need to go out to Rod Charles, kind of
Yes,
headed this thing
right.
up a year or two
Yeah.
back, and his group of people, of course, that
The
were on this
posse.
committee, the posse.
Yeah, they've been working on it since January.
Hi-yo, Silver, but what do you think about these people that don't have their dogs under control?
Oh, boy, I'm telling you, I really feel bad for them, for not realizing what a responsibility that is, and now they're dealing with the consequences of that. But I'll tell you, I can understand dogs getting out and getting loose. It's happened to me. I actually had a dog get hit by a car by jumping the fence. But these people have had this situation before.
Yeah,
I feel bad.
Yeah, folks, even though your dog is cuddly and so forth to you, the pit bull may not be that way, with other people running by on a trail. So, yeah, do keep it under control. Serious things can happen that, once they happen, there's no bringing it back.
Yeah, that's right. That's sad. Well, that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, go to your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper.
Coming up next on OCTV, Oxford Local Sports with Andy Curtis and Oxford School News with John Oetjens, and join Dave Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we are bringing your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Discover the wonderful surprises of local shopping. Watch Let's Take a Walk with Susan Bork or Andy Curtis, weekdays at 10:30 and 6:30, keeping it local.
You are watching the Michigan American Legion's Station of the Year for the 5th year in a row, Oxford Community Television.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, GM supplier ZF Friedrichshafen Supervisory Board has backed negotiations to buy TRW Automotive Holdings Corporation after 2 days of meetings with management. Two people familiar with the matter told Bloomberg. ZF CEO Stefan Sommer and his board were given the green light to continue talks with TRW as they aim to reach a deal over the next few weeks, said people who asked not to be identified as the discussions are private. No final decision has been made and the talks could still fall apart, said one of the people. ZF confirmed earlier this month that it's in talks with TRW about an acquisition which would create the world's second largest auto parts supplier by sales, combining a maker of steering systems and transmissions with a leading producer of car safety technology. TRW has a market value of $11.3 billion. Reuters reported this week that ZF could offer as much as $12 billion for TRW and that ZF is lining up $13.4 billion in financing for the deal. ZF is looking to add TRW technology from airbags to collision sensors that keep drivers secure and helps them avoid crashes to its existing suite of mechanical parts as consumer demand and government regulations are spreading the adoption of features to prevent accidents and protect passengers and pedestrians. A combination would create a company with about $36.5 billion in annual sales to automakers and vaulting ZF to the number 2 spot among world's largest auto parts supplier. Robert Bosch is currently the largest supplier with global sales of $40.1 billion. Based in Friedrichshafen, Germany, the ZF makes steering systems, clutches and axles, and transmissions, including the fuel-efficient 9-speed unit Fiat Chrysler automobiles uses in its vehicles. And how much can your vehicle tow? General Motors says it deletes heavy items such as the rear bumper from certain pickups when it weighs them in order to boost the vehicle's maximum payload ratings. GM said it adopted the practice for the 2014 model year in response to competitive pressures as it launched redesigned full-size pickups. The practice is similar to the one adopted by Ford Motor Company about 4 years ago to show a maximum payload that is larger than would be possible if the automaker used the standard base curb weight of a pickup. Chrysler Group's Ram brand uses only unmodified base curb weight on the Ram pickup. In a July 28th automotive news story about a feud between Ford and Ram over towing claims, a GM spokesman said the automaker does not delete any items from its pickups when it sets their maximum payload capacities. Well, the spokesman Tim Wilkinson said on July 30th that claim was made in error. Maximum payload capacities are used in part to separate pickups into classes. The classes are based on the vehicle's gross weight rating, which is equal to the pickup's base curb weight plus its maximum payload. If a pickup's weight goes up, then its listed maximum payload capacity must be reduced. If it is to remain at the same gross, that is to say, vehicle weight rating. And if a pickup's weight goes down, then its maximum payload figure can climb by an equal amount to keep the same gross vehicle weight rating. In an email to Automotive News, Wilkinson said GM establishes a minimum curb weight and thus higher maximum payload capacity on some of its heavy-duty vehicles by deleting the weight of the rear bumper and switching out heavier standard steel wheels for optional lighter alloy wheels. He also said the maximum payload claims for the 2015 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 and GMC Sierra 1500 are based on a minimum curb weight that deletes the rear bumper and the spare tire. A Ford spokesman said that Ford bases its maximum payload claim on the weight of the base F-Series model after various items are deleted, not on the base curb weight of the F-Series pickup. For example, Ford shaved 154 pounds from the weight of the F450, Ford spokesman Mike Levine says, by removing items that have a possibility of being deleted from a vehicle order. Among the items that were removed were the spare tire, tire jack, radio, and the center console. Ford said it uses the practice to set the maximum payloads for all of its F-Series pickups. It began using the practice in 2010 or 2011, Levine said. Ford advises dealers to warn customers that they could disqualify their warranty coverage if they exceed a truck's gross vehicle weight rating. However, on the Ford F450, if a customer loaded a base vehicle to Ford's advertised maximum payload capacity, the vehicle would exceed its Class 3 gross vehicle weight rating by 61 pounds. And a spokesman for Chrysler's Ram brand reaffirmed that Chrysler uses the base curb weight of its pickups to establish their maximum payload capacities and not a modified minimum curb weight as Ford and GM do. Wow. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.
Congratulations, OCTV, as the 2014 winner of the American Legion's Best Electronic Media Award, symbolizing your efforts to provide meaningful coverage of veterans' issues and patriotic activities, as well as the American Legion.
I'm John Oetjens, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. 9 candidates have filed to run for the 4 vacant school board seats this fall. Here are their names. Angela Mitchell and Kimberly Shoemaker are currently on the board. The Alveus Bully Buster program will be swinging into action again when the school year begins. This will be its 4th year. We spoke with Oxford High's Principal Todd Dunkley, who reviewed it for us.
The Alveus program here at Oxford is in its 3rd year. All schools everywhere have tried to been doing something with quality decision making, anti-bullying programs. The state even put some pressure on schools to do it. Prior to that pressure, all schools knew they could do a better job of things. Having associates that had known the person involved, who is Pam Fine, who was in another school system I was familiar with, had told me about her, and we had brought her on board 3 years ago. She was one of, at the time, only 3 trained people in the state. There's still just a handful that are trained in the program. I believe we're the only school that has the trainer assigned full-time to the school system. So what her purpose is she comes in and establishes this. We still are only in a couple tiers left where we have to grow to get the program where it needs to be. What you have here is students in the high school who spend their time as mentors for the youth. In other words, they'll go down to the middle school level, so they intervene, and at the elementary level at time, thus the Bully Busters, and I'll talk about it, to help students become unified in their approach to stop the behavior. We have, since its onset, and there's 4 different categories of bullying, has seen a reduction through referrals to the office across the board because they know how and they're actively engaging themselves. Do we still have problems? Yeah, it's nothing like it used to be.
The Dance Academy at the Oxford Arts Conservatory is gearing up for August auditions. Dance instructor Katie Koivunen dropped by to tell us more. We're sitting here with Katie Koivunen.
Yes.
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
Okay, now Katie's from the Oxford Arts Conservatory over at the high school. She is a dance instructor, and she's going to tell us about some of the new things that are happening with the dance program as we get closer to the school year. Katie?
Yes, the dance program is now starting its 2nd year. It's a partnership between Oakland University and Oxford High School. It's an exclusive partnership with Oxford High School. The program has 3 different levels: advanced, intermediate, and intro, and it also has its own dance company that performs throughout Michigan. Auditions are coming up. They're Thursday, August 21st at 10 a.m. at Oxford High School in the Fine Arts Center. And
You say they perform throughout Michigan. That's a pretty wide scope.
Yep. Last year we just did 2 performances at the high school, but this year we do have planned doing a bunch of festivals, one in Farmington, one in Flint. So,
And you mentioned your connection with Oakland University.
Yes.
Could you explain that a little bit more, please?
Sure. I'm an alumni of Oakland University, so what I do is connect Oxford High School with Oakland University. Oakland University comes and performs with the Oxford students, and then hopefully we're hoping to bring the Oxford students over to Oakland University to perform in their venue as well. We also bring in the faculty from Oakland, and they teach master classes throughout the year, as well as bringing their student companies in to Oxford and to connect with the Oxford students.
Now, you don't just talk the talk, but you walk the walk. You're a professional dancer yourself, right?
I am, yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I dance with the Lore Dance Company. It's a jazz contemporary company out of St. Clair Shores. We do performances all over Michigan as well. We've danced at MGM. We've danced, it's called Motor City Movement. It's a dance collaboration show in Pontiac, several other things.
And I believe somebody told me you were involved in a Detroit Lions halftime program?
Yes. Yes, I auditioned and I was a featured dancer for the halftime show Thanksgiving when Nickelback performed. And
How exciting.
very
We're glad to have you as part of the staff over at the Oxford Arts Academy, and we really appreciate your stopping by. We'll be following that program through the school year. The final segment on the Oxford Virtual Academy is on Schooling Around this week. You can see it at 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 11 a.m. on Saturday. That's the Oxford Wildcat School News for this week. Dave Kenny follows with science in the news, then Andy Curtis with sports. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life to somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
Hi, I'm Andy Curtis, and this is your Oxford Sports Update. Well, Tigers GM Dave Dombrowski did it again, and with just minutes left in a trade deadline last Thursday, Double D pulled another Dombrowski-esque trade out of his hat and acquired Cy Young winner and former Tampa Bay pitching ace David Price. In a three-team deal, the Tigs sent center fielder Austin Jackson to the Seattle Mariners and starting pitcher Drew Smiley, along with 18-year-old prospect shortstop Willie Adams, to Tampa for the 28-year-old starter and his dog Astro. Now, this trade actually happened so last second that Jackson, who was playing in center field at the time, had to be removed and replaced with Rajai Davis in the middle of the seventh inning, to the standing ovation from the Comerica crowd. Now, of course, once this breaking news hit, we here at OCTV sent our cameras out into the community to capture the reaction by Tiger fans.
I think they're excited.
Oh, what a great time to be alive. Price is now the third Cy Young winner in our stud starting rotation, having won it back in 2012, joining Justin Verlander and, of course, Max Scherzer. And he leads the league in strikeouts with 189 and innings pitched with 170.2, which, of course, with the issues we have in our bullpen, is a huge plus. Add Ricky Porcello and Anibal Sanchez to the mix, and on paper, we should have the best non-video game starting rotation in all of baseball. And of course, what better way to welcome David to Detroit than with a 3-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies at home, with Anibal Sanchez capping off the weekend Sunday with a 4-0 shutout victory. Sanchez struck out 10 through 6 innings, 12 strikeouts total, and improved his record to 8-5 on the season, with a little bit of help from Victor Martinez, who hit his 23rd home run of the year. Now, this win keeps the Tigs in first place in the AL Central by 5 games and improves their overall record to 61-47, which, of course, as you know at home, means they are the 4th best in the American League. Now, turning to more local sports, the school year is quickly approaching, and that means fall sports are just a few weeks away. So for any student wanting to be part of the proud Wildcat sports tradition here in Oxford, they need to have a current physical exam on file and have to have had at least 5 past classes with a 1.7 GPA. Freshman JV and varsity football begins August the 11th, with volleyball, varsity soccer, cross country, and girls golf and girls swim and dive all starting the 13th. For a more in-depth list of dates and times of the upcoming practices, you can go to the Oxford Athletic website, oxfordathletics.org, or give District Athletic Director Mike Watson a jingle at 248-969-5110. And now for your sports vocab word of the day, delay of game. In football, a team can be penalized for having too many players on the field, calling a timeout when they have no more to use, or letting the play clock expire before snapping the ball. A delay of game penalty results in a 5-yard loss. Now, I'm Andy Curtis, and remember, you can catch all of our broadcasts of your favorite Oxford High School and Park and Rec, and upcoming soon in the fall, Oxford Wildcat football between 1 and 6 right here on OCTV, or check us out online under the program section of OCCTV.org. And remember, as always, this is your community station, so if you have a sports idea, shoot us an email at andrewcurtis23@gmail.com and put OCTV Sports in the subject line. That was all the sports news you need to know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
This is OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford and Addison Townships with the best in local programming. On Charter Channel 191, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and our website, OCCTV.org. OCTV, we provide local programming that brings you closer to home. Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In Africa this week, the spread continues. The ongoing Ebola epidemic in West Africa has so far killed more than 670 people in Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia, making it the worst outbreak in the disease's history. Now it has reached Lagos in Nigeria. Patrick Sawyer seemed all right when he boarded a flight from Liberia on July 20th, but was showing symptoms of the disease by the time he arrived in Lagos. He died July 25th. Around 21 million people live in Lagos, Africa's largest city, so an outbreak there could be disastrous. Nigerian officials are now screening passengers arriving on international flights, while Liberia has announced that it has closed all but its major border crossings, and it also is quarantining all affected villages. Daniel Bausch at Tulane University School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine in New Orleans has recently returned from Sierra Leone, saying the priority should be to trace all contacts of the infected man, although it will be difficult. It seems simplistic, but the logistics of tracing contacts of those infected is complex, he says. A shortage of health workers and the fact that many are falling ill is adding to the problems. In Sierra Leone, some landlords are telling nurses not to return to their homes in case they are infected, says Bausch. The outbreak is likely to last a few more months, he adds. You can't model all the factors involved in the spread, so you just have to hope you have it under control, he says. And on the technological front, thought Google already knew a lot about you? The company's latest project aims to delve into biology to uncover what it means to be a healthy person. The company's experimental research arm, Google X, in collaboration with Duke University and Stanford University, has launched the baseline study to sequence the genomes of 175 volunteers. Researchers will also collect bodily fluids and information on each person's diet, drug use, and family history. Baseline will measure more biological and physiological measures simultaneously than could have ever been imagined until very recently, says collaborator Robert Califf at Duke University. The sheer amount of data is astounding. The team plans to expand the database to thousands of people in the next few years. Baseline marks Google's third foray into biology after Calico, its anti-aging research arm, and a smart contact lens with sensors that measure glucose level in people with diabetes. And in space, the odometer on NASA's Opportunity Mars rover rolled past 40 kilometers this week, beating the previous record for off-road driving held by the Soviet moon rover Lunokhod, 2. Opportunity landed in 2004 and has been going ever since, outliving its twin Spirit by more than 4 years. And in Europe, Europe is getting out of the space delivery business. The European Space Agency's final resupply mission to the International Space Station was due to blast off on July 29th from Kourou, French Guiana. But lessons learned from operating the Automated Transfer Vehicle ATV will help future astronauts. 5 uncrewed ATV missions since 2008 served as payment to NASA for allowing European access to the station. The final trip will deliver a variety of experiments along with food, fuel, and other supplies. These include an electromagnetic levitator capable of heating metals to 2100 degrees Celsius and rapidly cooling them down so the ISS crew can study how alloys form in space and whether microgravity changes their properties. Also, on board is a joystick to help study how future astronauts might remotely control robots in space. The crew will test it by playing a version of the game Pong. Nothing newer? Well, this final flight will also test a laser radar system designed to rendezvous with uncooperative targets like dead satellites that lack docking equipment. Now that private vehicles from SpaceX and Orbital Sciences are resupplying the ISS, ESA plans to work with NASA on crewed space flight. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.